So with this refresh, we're going to be looking at the coordinate plane, how to plot points, and how to represent points in a table. So first things first, the coordinate plane is made up of two axes. The y-axis is the one that goes up and down like this. The x-axis is the one that goes left to right, just like this. Okay? So sometimes in elementary school they'll tell you y to the sky, or if you look at the letter y, it goes kind of, up and down, two lines. And the letter x is a cross, two lines crossing across each other. Whichever way is going to help you remember that is going to be really important. So now we get into what a coordinate point is. And so essentially, a coordinate point is a dot, and it's a specific location on this coordinate plane. They are written as x, y. Okay, we call this an ordered pair. Okay, because it's two numbers and they're in a very specific order. The first number tells you where to go on the x-axis. The second number tells you where to go on the y-axis. So these ordered pairs represent these coordinate points, and this gives you the directions of where to go. Okay? It's kind of like if you were trying to leave Twain to go to McDonald's, you would be headed to where Franconia meets Rose Hill. Okay, where those two lines kind of meet, that's where that location is. So let's look at the example 2, -3. Okay, that ordered pair, this coordinate point, 2 is where we would go on the x-axis, and then we would follow that down to -3 on the y-axis. And so that's what I mean by they're written as x, y. Your x values first, your y values second. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at some examples and we're going to plot these points. Okay? You can do your best to try and, gauge where you think it would go and then see if you're right. So point A, 4, 2. Again, these are written x, y. So my x value is 4, my y value is 2. So +4, again, my x-axis is right here, the one going across. My y-axis is right here, the one going up and down. Let me focus this just a bit. There we go. So 4, 2 means I'm going to go over to 4 on my x-axis. And then +2 means I'm going to go up to 2 on my y-axis. And I'm going to plot that dot right where those lines meet. So that's my point A. B is -3, 1. Again, these are written x, y. So for x, I'm going to go to -3. Okay, that's right here. And then my y value is a +1. So I'm going to go up here, right where those lines meet. And that's my point B. You're going to do the same thing with C. 5, -4. So I'm going to go over to 5, stop, go down to -4, right here. And that's my point C. Point D says -2, -6. Okay, so on my x-axis, I'm going to go over to -2, and then I'm going to go down to -6. And that's my point D. These next 2 points can be kind of tricky because they have the zeros in it. But again, what we have to remember is that it's x first and then y. X first and then y. So the point 0, -3, means that for the x-axis, we're going to stop here at 0. Then we're going to go up to 3. It's going to be right there. Point E. For F, it's the opposite. Okay? because it's -4, 0. So whichever either x or y has the number, that tells you what axis it's going to be on. Like for this one, since it was 0, 3, and the 3 was the y value, this point is on the y-axis. For this one, it's -4, 0, where there's only a number for -4. That means when we go on the x-axis to -4, we're not going to go up at all. We're going to stay right on the x-axis. And so that's how we would plot that point. Okay? If you need more help plotting points, there are plenty of resources online. You can actually even play Battleship if you've ever played Battleship before, like the game with the little pegs. That's working on a coordinate grid as well. It just uses letters and numbers versus numbers and numbers, but the idea is the same. So that is plotting ordered pairs or coordinate points. We also are going to look at this unit, things that can be written in a table. And so basically coordinate points, they can be written like we were just doing, like how we had -3, 1, okay, where it's x, y. But coordinate points can also be written in a table. We have an x column and a y column, or an x row and a y row. All of these just represent coordinate points. For example, 0, 2 just represents that, just like what we were working with before. -1, 9, same idea. Okay, these and this, they mean the same thing. One's in a table, one's not. Same here. -3, 0 would just be -3, 0. 4, 5 would just be 4, 5. And so these ordered pairs can be written in a bunch of different ways. Sometimes they even will write a bunch of these in a list rather than put them in a table. As long as you can understand that they represent the same thing, that all of this just represents coordinate points, which are just dots on a graph, you're going to be okay. So what we're going to do with this graph is the lines are already, or the points are already plotted. What we're going to do is we're going to fill in a table. So looking at this line, what we're going to do is try and find some really nice, some really clean coordinate points. What I mean by that is we want to look for points on this line that hit these grid lines right in the middle. Like we're kind of looking for something that would be right in the middle. If any of you ever play video games where when you look at your scope is kind of something like this, we're looking for those perfect shots right in the middle of those, right in the middle of the cross. So if I look and I go down this line, oh, there's one right here. There's one right here. There's one right here. Oh, and I see another one right here. So there are more points. Like if you thought I missed the one right here, I did. There's even one here, and there's even one here. So there's lots of different points on this graph. So let's pick 4. All right? Why not start with the first one? Again, these tables are x, y. So if I look at this point, my x value is -4. My y value is 6. If I go down to this point, I look down for my x value, it's -3. My y value is 4. If we look at this one, do you think you could tell us what the x with the y is? This one would be -2, 2. And what about this one? This point right here. Well, our x value is -1, But since it doesn't go up at all, it's right on the line, our y value is 0. If we were to do those other points, now this one, it's kind of the opposite. Because this one, for our x value, it's right on the line. It's right on 0. So this is 0, negative 2. This point, do you think you can get it? 1, negative 4. And what about this last point? What do you think it is? Two, negative 6. So that's kind of a refresh on plotting points and writing coordinate points from things that are already graphed. If you need more help, please ask questions in class. Please stay after school, but this should help you with your homework assignment number 2.